Phil Morris here, the Time and Time photographer, and what I want to do today is show you a little bit about my workflow through Lightroom. So I've got my photo here. The first thing I want to do is in Lightroom, I want to go to Catalog Settings. And this is one of my pet peeves here. Normally, this automatically write changes to XMP is turned off. I always turn it on because I want everything that I do to happen to the file, in my case since I'm using DNGs, or to the XMP sidecar file that goes with the image, so that other bits of software will see any of the changes that I make. And now let's get to work on image. First thing I do is I go down to camera calibration. Now in my case I have a specific camera calibration which is Studio Softbox. Since I did this in the studio, I used a color checker to make that, but in your case you could use any of the camera standards. It's a little different for Nikon, but get that done and out of the way first. Alright, now we go back up to our basic tab. 90% of the work that you do will be here. If you have a strong white for your white balance, go ahead and use that. And in my case, I can pop over here to this and say, alright, I want that to be my white. And I'll take note of the number, 5500 plus 62. Let's come back over and we will put that in. Actually, we can just click on that. And go up to plus 62 or thereabouts. All right. That looks a little bit on the warm side to me, but we'll take a look at that in a moment. And I always hit auto here just to see what it does. And in a lot of cases, it'll get you 90% there. And as you can see, it balanced out the colors rather nicely. We've got a very good orange, not orange, yellow there, an orange look to the yellow. And my backdrop, you can see a couple wrinkles in there. And some people will just go ahead and up the blacks. If we want a good edgy look, I'm thinking that I might want to do something a little different there. Now, come down to the presence area, clarity. Since I used a softbox on this and there was no added flash, I always add clarity, and I'll jump it up to about plus 50%. We don't need much in the way of vibrance here. Vibrance is going to pick up the colors that normally don't get saturated, and I always think that a little bit of vibrance is good. Saturation in most cases you leave alone. If anything, you want it to go down, and in this case I think I'm going to keep it at 0. Now for most portrait retouching, I'm not going to do anything to the tone curve. It just depends on if there's any really dark areas or really bright areas. The most I might do is change it to a stronger contrast. It depends on what size the image is going to be when I produce it. But in this case, medium contrast is just fine. We're not going to go to change this to a black and white or split tone. The detail tab, if we zoom in here, since we didn't use a flash on this, we've got a little bit of noise in here. Take this noise reduction slider up just a bit, maybe about 30%, and that clears up a lot of that noise. I also like to take the sharpening up a bit, because the standard sharpening is very soft, you might say. Let's zoom back out just by clicking on it. Another thing I always do is enable the lens correction profile. And in this case, it picks it up. You'll notice a very slight difference in the guitar. It flattens the image out a little bit. And in a lot of images, I will add a bit of a vignette. This one won't make any sense since there's a lot of black in the background. All right, we want to clean up this backdrop a bit, and what I want to do is use my adjustment brush here, and I'm going to take a big adjustment brush, and I've set the exposure to -4, and I'm just going to paint. Let's increase the flow up to 100 in auto mask, and I will just paint quickly around here. And really there's not that much of a need to get super tight on it because it really won't spill over. And we're done. And that is 4 minutes to 5 minutes to create the look that I wanted for this image. The only thing to do now is to figure out how I'm going to crop it. Well, that's been my tip for the week. Come back next week and I will show you another.